According to Kanye West, high-up executives at Adidas are making decisions about his Yeezy fashion line without his input, causing Kanye to believe he's lost control of his brand. Now, according to Complex, Kanye is also accusing Adidas of stealing his designs and releasing footwear that resembles his products that has been released in the past. Other artists like Swizz Beatz, Diddy, and T.I. have all backed Kanye in his stance. On Tuesday, Diddy would tweet, "Since the era of Run DMC, Adidas has always used hip-hop to build its brand and make billions off of our culture. But we're more than consumers now, we're the owners. Kanye West and Yeezy are the reason Adidas is relevant to the culture. We know our value. I'm done wearing Adidas products until they make this right. We have to support each other." Today, we have a special episode of the Comedy Hype News Show with Jason Carter, Oronike Odeleye, and Maurice Motown Lee from One Music Fest to give their thoughts on the matter and talk about the biggest independently owned Black hip-hop and R&B festival in the Southeast. First and foremost, thank you all for joining us for this special edition of the Comedy Hype News Show. Thank you all so much.
Thank you guys, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I want to dive first into this conversation of what we're seeing with, Kanye West with Adidas and how he feels like, they're starting to take his brand and he's losing control. So I'll start over here in this corner. What are your thoughts and reactions to that? When you saw that, come into the press, what were your initial thoughts?
I mean, honestly, nothing at first. And then, Kanye is Kanye. But then when you kind of dove deeper, it was like, he has a valid argument. So, his deal with Adidas, it made him a billionaire, So, and I'm not saying because your deal made you so much money, you just sell your soul and relinquish your creative control or your product to somebody. Dave Chappelle was the first to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get too big, they're gonna come get you. So, they offered him, $1 billion to buy the brand. I think his number was, he probably makes about, it's $500 million a year on just basic royalties from the brand. So why would he sell? It's a touchy situation. Corporate and those big power attorneys, they figure out loopholes and ways to kind of get things done. What can he do? At the end of the day, can he boycott? Can he pull his brand from Adidas? Probably not the best idea. But I think he's in position to squeeze them, to kind of make them rethink their positioning and some of their actions to make it a better situation for him and his brand.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that insight. You even added more details to that to paint the picture. Let me bring you in on this. What were your thoughts and reactions to it, once we heard this news break?
I ain't really got no sympathy for him, honestly. I don't.
I like honesty.
I don't. I don't have any sympathy for him. The brother said it best himself. Slavery is a choice, right? He has been chasing after these brands from the minute he came on. From the very beginning, it was, oh man, I want to do stuff for Nike. I want to redesign hotels for Hilton. He didn't have to go to these brands to do any of this stuff. Kanye's got enough money, enough influence, enough pull to have put out his own sneakers independently, to have done all the things he's ever said he wanted to do on his own. He went running under them white folks, and then when white folks start acting like white folks, then he comes back to the Black community like, I'm being oppressed, y'all. It's the white people. It's the white woman keeping me from my kids. It's the white people trying to steal my... No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. You signed up for all of this. You got the same access to lawyers they've got. If creative control is important, you put that in there. You have got the same access to distributors, to marketing, to an audience that they got. You didn't need these folks. You took their money. Now sit down.
Let's bring you in to get your thoughts. What's your reaction to that once you heard this news?
Number one, let me say that all Geminis aren't created equal. So, you know what I'm saying?
You're a Gemini, but you're not the same.
So they bring up Kanye and the other guy that's a Gemini. Listen, we all aren't the same. But for Kanye and anybody that gets in the deal with a clothing or shoe brand, you have to stick to schedules. So when you have partners, so when they partner with Foot Locker and all these things, they have to stick to schedules. And from Adidas' point of view, they're saying Kanye wasn't showing up to the meetings, and they still had to, listen, you miss a shipment, they don't get your brand up out of there. And not only do you lose the money you gave Kanye, but you lose all the money for your other brands because they're not just taking out the Yeezys, they taking out all Adidas out of stores. So they had to protect their brand also. But I'm tired of Kanye like hijacking the like movements. Like every time, like there's so much other stuff that we need to be like fighting over. I'm not trying to get into a fight and like protesting on the behalf of Kanye. I mean, he's done this like how many times he jumped out there and complains when it benefits him, but he's not thinking about nobody else.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, and I think all of you are adding a lot of value to the conversation. I know you all are very successful with One Music Fest. It's been 13 years, so congratulations to that. But I want to, get you all's opinion because, like you said, this isn't the first time we've seen it. We've seen it with Swiss and Timberland. And other brands. Too many to mention. It continues to happen. So I'll start with you. When it comes to One Music Fest, as you all are building the brand and having these conversations and having these meetings, as mentioned, how do you all plan to move forward and make sure that it stays in the hands of the people that created it?
Well, I think, there multiple things can be true at once. So I think when anybody builds a business or a brand, they're invested in the integrity of that business and the integrity of that brand, especially when you're Black owned and you're creating something for and by Black people, right? Like you have to stick to that integrity. But I also don't think that there is a mandate for you to do that one business for the rest of your life. I think we saw this, with Honey Pot and some other ones that have received some backlash lately because you're Black owned and then you might have taken on other partners. It takes a lot to do these things, and so the partnerships you create are important. And it also might be the thing that you created in your 20s, and now in your 50s, I want to do something different. You know what I mean? So I don't think changing ownership is necessarily a problem within our community. I think that making sure that we build in safeguards for the integrity of brands is what we need to be doing. So I think that regardless of whatever iterations One Music Fest might take, we can build in that we want a level of control or that we want a level of integrity into those contracts. You can build those things in. I think a lot of folks see a check and then they're like, it's yours.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's a country music festival. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care. But you can build in continued say or continued input or put in place people that are going to continue that legacy forward. And I think that's what a lot of these Black brands need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. Now, I know this is dear and dear to your heart. One Music Fest being the baby. What are your thoughts? How do you all plan to, move forward and make sure that it stays in the hands of who created a true for us, by us?
I think, Oronike, touched on a lot of great points. But the essence of business is to build and create something to sell, right? And that's tough, right? Because as Oronike also stated, you can build something up to a point. Everything has a ceiling, right? So when you're building out the brand, you got all these great ideas and you're just pouring all of your money and resources into building this baby. And then you kind of hit this wall, right? And growth takes money, it takes capital, it takes other ideas. So, I think because we did a co-pro agreement with Live Nation Urban, which is an offset of Live Nation, but Live Nation Urban is run by a team of Black folks that saw that Live Nation was missing the mark on urban culture and events. So much respect to Sean G. He created a JV with Live Nation called Live Nation Urban. We thought that would be a cool co-pro partnership based off their history and the growth that we wanted to see. So, it's a partnership. We still maintain ownership of the brand, but we all kind of sit at the table and contribute. As we expand, there'll be conversations of how they play in expansion. But, as things kind of expand, we're a team of creatives, so we do have other ideas and other ways in which we want to impact culture and grow and showcase our culture in a different light and on a different platform. And honestly, that was the main reason for One Music Fest. Everything was either, totally just turned up crunk or blue lights in the basement, right? but nothing really kind of embraced the balance of all that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're probably a little bit younger than us. And,
Probably, a
you know
little
what I'm
bit.
saying? But you know, you'll still listen to Marvin Gaye.
Absolutely.
But you'll still turn up to Lil Baby and everything in between. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
No, yeah.
on those moments,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, but be it if you're 25 or 55, you know, we all kind of move like that. But our culture is kind of being, it's streamlined, or it's placed in this like little nice neat box and packaged and then sold right back to us. So we said, well, you know, we got to figure out a better way to kind of highlight and showcase our culture for, you know, with the wide breadth of an array of music and talent and creatives and vendors and food. And so, you know, they were just missing the mark. So as we expand, and we got some dog-ass attorneys that really understand the culture.
Right.
So credit to T and Louise, gangsters, been in the business forever. But that is something that we are gonna make sure that stays in our agreement. You know what I'm saying? Like, that we do stay on board, or there's a percentage that we kind of keep and help with creative control over the brand so we don't lose it. So all that can be negotiated, you know? So, you know, I think this Kanye thing is a little... You know, I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my life over here.
I think you all, well, let me first say, I think you all have done a phenomenal job. I think you all have done a phenomenal job, but, you know, also being able to provide that insight. Of course, I want to get you to add in on this one. What are your thoughts, you know, as you guys are moving forward from your perspective? How do you all plan to keep it in the hands?
At the end of the day, I think that what we created with One Music Fest, first of all, we are family. Like, we're very close knit. And we all love the brand. So even the partnerships that we create, it's still going to be part of One Music Fest, because even if we say, you know what, let's sell, there's no way anybody else can create One Music Fest. They don't bring it back to us anyway. We're gonna sell high and buy it back low and recreate what we did again.
Right.
Like, because you just can't create it. Like, there's a lot of other people that came into the market and try to recreate, but it just can't. And it's not because you look at you may look at the artists and everything, but it's what we put into it. It's not just something we do for the money. It's something we do because we're family. Like, we built this thing together, and it's out of love. So.
Absolutely. Now, One Music Fest is a 2-day festival this year, October 8th and October 9th. And a lot of people that may be younger than me, you know, whether they know about it or not, I think it's important to understand the foundation of it and how it all started. So I'll kick it over to you to start off, Jason. How did, you know, One Music Fest start? What was it origin, or what did that conversation look like to start One Music Fest?
No doubt. The crazy thing is, like, this, it's all full circle. This used to be our office, right?
Comedy Hype Studio.
Where we are right now.
Crazy.
So we had an office across the street. Ornick and I were co-owners of a creative agency. Then we needed more space, and we moved over here. And but it's crazy. Like the evolution of One Music Fest was right here on Walker Street.
Wow.
So anyway, so I was doing brand marketing for over 21 years. Went to a bunch of festivals, owned a live music venue. So was always in love and infatuated with live music, just in general, the sound, the feel, the energy. But going to one large festival, I saw a lot of our music being represented on stage, but I didn't see a lot of our faces in the crowd. And I was like, wow, this is dope. This is a dope experience. And I had a history of working with one of the larger live music companies in the world, right? And had the concept, did a little bit of research, and, you know, quite frankly, the folks over at like Bonnaroo was like, it's going to take 5 years for you to develop a festival brand.
Wow.
And then somebody else in the festival space was like, you know, if you don't have $2 million to lose, don't even do it. I'm like, y'all talking crazy. So, you know, I actually took it to some partners. Well, actually, let me say this. I looked for Black folks that was doing something in the space of which I was trying to create. Couldn't find no Black folk. Couldn't find, and this was around 2008. And so I took it to our lesser Hugh, and I said, this is my idea. You know, yeah, I would love some support. And the lesser Hugh folk told me it won't work.
Wow.
They literally said that Black folks do not want to sit in the elements and listen to music. Y'all more so want to go to concerts. This is back in 08. I said, oh, okay. And so no one believed in it. And so so sometimes we look up. We always look up. Everything is aspirational. And sometimes you got to look lateral, right? And so that's when I said, all right, let me sell the idea to the brands that I work with, and then let me look at my lateral team of people that believe in me and my ideas and visions, and let's try to do this ourselves. And that's exactly what happened. So, you know, we saw that the festival space was, and now it's oversaturated, but I saw that the festival space was, there was a gaping hole in just how it was being programmed. And it just wasn't being really, it didn't reflect our music and our culture. So I said, well, if no one's gonna help us do it, let's do it ourselves. And yeah, 13 years later, man, we're sitting here with you know, this baby is no longer a baby. It's a big ass adolescent, you know what I'm saying? With his own attitude and stealing daddy's car keys and doing all kinds of shit.
You're a little comedian here, Oronika, I want to bring you in because you were here in the beginning, and now, like you said, here you are 13 years later. Let's talk about that experience for you. You know, when you did come on board in the beginning, what was that like?
Well, like you said, we had a business together. So we had already been working together for some years before that. And we had been doing all the designing and marketing and stuff for events that he was already doing. And at the time that we decided to close the creative agency, I was kind of like, I need a job. Like, what am I going to do now? And he was like, oh man, come, like I need help, you know, with One Music Fest. So the first year I actually worked the door of the festival.
Oh, that's
like, I mean, you talk about
gate.
starting.
It's not really a
It
door. It was a gate. It was small.
It was a small gate.
It was small, but it wasn't a door.
But yeah, like, I mean, he set me up because I remember that festival he was doing, he had like a add-on to your ticket where you could get like a free drink and this, that, and the other, but he didn't tell people the drinks was a soda, and he wanted me to get the sodas out at the door. So I was getting cussed out all day long.
I forgot about that.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Right, me and Tamika, right, up there getting cussed out all day long. But yeah, so it was just, you know, but from there it was really, my personality is to jump in and help and bring my skills, my expertise to whatever it is I'm working on. So it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, y'all need some help doing this, doing that, doing this and the third. So it was really just slowly just getting my hands in everything. So yeah, so and I can say that it was also really great that that they really let me learn all aspects of the business. So I've just at this point done everything there is to do in the festival. Right. Have learned so much, and have really super proud to be able to say that I helped grow it to this point, because I watched it go from, what was it, first year was like 1,500 people, somewhere around there, somewhere in there. Right. You know, I mean, to where we are now, we're getting 20,000 folks out every day.
Absolutely.
For the festival. So it's just been an amazing ride.
And I think something that you brought up that's very important is that you started off as, I'll say, the gate, you know, at the gate, but now you're a festival director. When it comes to building a brand, you've been able to kind of see that process. What does it take to build a brand?
Money. It takes money. It takes money. Okay, again, it takes money. Okay, it takes money to build a brand. Yes. People have no idea. You know, you can get, I man our info at One Music Fest email account. You see all kinds of suggestions, criticism, thoughts, additions coming through. Nobody has a clue about what any of these things cost. If you see what we paid for toilets, you'd quit. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it takes money, and it takes a really strong team. It takes people who are willing to do whatever it takes. You know, so saying you're a festival director doesn't mean if a floor needs to be swept, I don't sweep it. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to be down for every single process in it because there's a lot of money on the line, you know. So yeah, it takes a team and it takes money.
Absolutely. Now, Jason, I'm gonna bring that question back to you in just a moment, but I want to loop in Motown here because I know right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, you serve as co-producer and director of radio marketing. So when it comes to your process of when you came into One Music Festival, how has that been for one, and then two, what do you think that it takes to build a brand?
Well, when I came in, my beard was black. And I got worried, worried to death. No, but relationships, relationships have taken us a long way. Not just our relationship, but our relationships with sponsors, with radio stations, with artist management, with agents. It's taken us a long way. And it's crazy because we also have a relationship with our consumers. Like, right. I don't think the people that run Coachella or Lollapalooza, people aren't just calling them or DMing them or texting them like, hey, y'all should do X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? You really get, like, every year we get these, like, y'all should bring back Michael Jackson, like, on a hologram. These crazy suggestions of things. So yeah. I think the relationships have carried us a long way. Like, our relationships have taken us a long way because we argue, fuss, and fight, but we're able to, but once that's over, it's over because we are a family. So relationships have carried us a long.
Yeah, and I can definitely feel the family-oriented environment that you all do create. Jason, I want to bring that back to you, but I want to form the question just a little bit differently. Seeing what you've been able to start here and obviously add on people who are now a part of your family, there are challenges along the way, with money, with relationships, but there are still challenges within entertainment. Are there still gatekeepers in entertainment? I know you've been in this business a long time and people have talked about, are there still gatekeepers?
Yeah, yep. Yep.
Let me tread lightly.
Ooh. So yeah, there's gatekeepers. I mean, shit. We keep it funky. So agents are kind of gatekeepers. Artist agents are gatekeepers. So you guys work with talent. Most talents have agents. Talents also have managers. Managers are closer to the talent more times than not. It's relationship there, real relationship. So as Motown said, a lot of times we have direct relationships with artists directly and managers, right? But the agents are they're calling Adidas. They're calling the big brand sponsors, right? And pulling in checks for their clients, right? So the client listens to the agent. The artists are listening to the agent because they're getting them checks, right? But they're still getting paid off your artistry and your likeness, right? They're getting 10%. If they give me $1 million deal, they just made $100,000. $10 million, they just made $1 million. So the agents are bringing these artists money, but a lot of them are disconnected from the culture and community, and really look at it more so as pimp my ride. Right. You know what I'm saying? Literally. You know what I'm saying? This is a ride for me. So when you build something of the culture and by the culture, and you want to talk numbers with someone that's disconnected from the culture, it's aggravating because you don't get it. Right. You just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So if we were to speak with the artists and managers direct and show them what One Music Fest is, if they don't know what One Music Fest, they probably like, I have to be here. Right. Those are my people. Those are my folks. I have to be here. But the agent may be like, yeah, I'm gonna need $2 million to make that happen. Yeah. $2 million? Hello? What are we doing? So, yeah, so those gatekeepers, yes. And then on the other side, Black culture is pop culture. Black culture is pop culture. Black culture is the heartbeat of anything that's popular. Slang, dancing, fashion, hell, I'll even say travel for the most. We direct what's happening. I mean, it's a whole conflict that's what's going on TikTok. you know, and how our culture or our style is being victimized and repackaged, and now they're getting all the viewerships and et cetera, right? So, you know, when dealing with brands that want to spend, you know, $3 million at a festival, right? And say, you know, we'll cut you a check for $30 million. You know, black festival, black folk. We'll give you $30 million, but we're gonna cut a $3 million check over here, right? There are gatekeepers that don't put the proper, or brand gatekeepers that don't put the proper evaluation on the impact of black culture, you know. So, and you know, I don't want to throw shade to any other festivals or whatever, but there's a really large hip hop festival that's not done by black folks, right? A really big one. And, you know, and I would say 95% of the talent is black, right? And, you know, and people say, well, you know, culture is everybody. Hip hop is for the world. It's for everybody. Okay, I get that. But how rooted and vested are you truly in the culture? And so I watched that brand and how they move. And then I remember June 19th was coming up, and I said, let me see what they do. And they did nothing. I said, okay, not that they had to. They didn't have to, but they did nothing. I said, okay, that's cool. But then when July 4th came around, it was a big Freedom Day special. And I was like, ain't that some shit? 95% of your artists are black, but you represent Freedom Day on the 4th. So that kind of rubbed me a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a little rub. I was like, oh, okay. But that's my shtick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am tired of other folks trying to monopolize or even I was about to say a word, but it's too harsh. But just truly take advantage of the culture, then repackage it and sell it right back to us. You know, so so I do understand, you know, Kanye's grudge to a point, but you know, but again, when people are put in a position to actually own their own, you have to. Absolutely. There's been folks that had less that started their own, right? I mean, you know, Stefan Marbury. I mean, he started his own. Not Stefan. Marbury started his own shoe line. You know, got it releasing. I mean, you could. Yeah. You could. You got the resources. You got the money.
Absolutely, especially when you have the money and the people too that are going to back you. Obviously, people are crazy about Kanye. Now, you all obviously with those challenges, you all have continued to push through. I want to run through this year's lineup, and I'm going to leave my favorite for last. And this is just some. And I'm gonna come to you because you said This year's lineup include, not limited to, Jasmine Sullivan, Lil Baby, Jeezy, Rick Ross, Gucci Mane, and Miss Lauryn Hill. Now, I must say, when I saw Miss Lauryn Hill, you know, of course, people have their initial thoughts. My initial thought was like, I'm super exciid. And
we did try to get your favorite artist that you told us was your favorite.
That's you know, genres. You got genres. But I want to start with you, Motown. When it comes to having, you know, Miss Lauryn Hill as one of those lineups, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. The last time we had Lauryn, she did an amazing job. Like, you know, contrary to popular belief,
right,
she didn't show up 2 hours late. She did her thing. And the most incredible thing about Lauryn is, it's funny because I just sent them footage. She stayed an hour after her performance and was just in the back doing freestyle sessions, like just rocking out with new artists and stuff. So for us, it was just like, you know what, like, let's bring back Lauryn. And, you know, she's been doing her thing with Wyclef and them. So I was like, it just made sense. And I won't say, but one of us at the table, they really love Lauryn. So
you know,
it's just natural. It's just natural that they just, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, I know that I'm one of them, but I'm going to take a guess over here. But I want to, you know, have you chime in on this as well. You know, having Lauryn Hill, and I know you all have had her before, but it is a big deal, especially in our culture, what she stands for, what she has stood for. I want to get your thoughts. What does it mean to you to have Miss Lauryn Hill in the lineup?
I would echo what Motown said. I mean, it's important always, I think, that we are celebrating the culture and the people who are the architects of the culture. What we do really well and better, even though folks are biting the way that we program now for their festivals. But we're the only festival you're gonna see the Isley Brothers and also Lil Wayne on the same stage. You know what I mean? Because we respect all aspects of the culture, and you cannot deny Lauryn Hill and her place in our culture. As festival director, I'm always worried about logistics. So, I'm still a little worried about logistics, but she's an amazing performer when she does what she does, and she brought it for us last time, so we're really excited to see her again.
Absolutely, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I am excited as well. But as you see how excited I got, I was like, ooh. Now, I want to wrap up with this question and just to close out. So I know, so the presenting sponsor this year is Toyota. There's a lot of events that are happening, throughout the week. So if you could just give us a little rundown, Jason, I'll hand it over to you. But of course, if you want to hand it off to anyone else, what can people expect this year from One Music Fest?
Okay. We're supposed to have an event on the Tuesday prior at Buckhead Theater. It's actually an event called House of Love, and it's geared towards the LGBTQ community. So we're in the midst of programming that. So look out for that one. Wednesday, we have kind of a networking panel that's going to take place at the Fox Theater. So some of the team over at the Fox allies are some of our peoples as well. And it's more intimate, about 200-300 some odd folks. We've been doing that for like the last 3 years. Thursday, we do a private VIP dinner with the mayor and some special guests. And Friday, this is really the first time we've done like a kickoff party. And what a lot of people don't understand or don't know is that 50% of our audience is not even from Georgia. So, we said, well, we got to do like a welcome to Atlanta big kickoff party. You pull up in the city on a Friday, where you gonna go? So couldn't do a kickoff party and a welcome to Atlanta party without Jermaine Dupri.
Come on now.
So Jermaine is doing the music. So we released the tickets early for our ticket holders for the Friday event. They'll be released to the general public tomorrow. So that's gonna be at the Tabernacle. That's gonna be huge. And then One Music Fest weekend. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And then Motown, I'll have you close us out. Where can people find tickets and get access if they still want to come to One Music Fest? Awesome. If you don't know what One Music Fest is, I have to make sure to mention again, right now I'm sitting with the biggest independently Black-owned hip-hop and R&B festival in the Southeast. So again, thank you all for joining us for this special episode of Comedy Hype News Show.
Thank you.
Truly an honor. It's truly an honor.
Thank you.
You heard from us, and I want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Kanye West going against Adidas and being backed not only by Swiss Beats, but Diddy as well? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.